Welcome back to the Becoming Her podcast, you guys. I'm hyped. And again, I know that I say this every single episode, but it's been a while since Bouquet has been with us. It's been a little over a month, I believe, but girlfriend has been busy with a capital B. She has so much going on behind the scenes, and I'm super hyped for her to, give us a little insight of what's going on for her. She has like brewing and in the works. And today, you guys, once we go through all the things that Bouquet is working through, which I'm so hyped to share with you guys because I just think it's so fire what she's doing, we're going to dive into hormones and gut health and how they are so very interconnected, the basic signs that you guys need to be looking at on both ends, and how to be able to advocate for yourself with your practitioner if you are working with somebody, to know if it's time to get some gut testing or some GI mapping done, if it's time for, a bit more thorough, blood work and whatnot for your hormones and all of that. So we're going to connect the two, but Bouquet, give us a little like deep dive into what's going on for you right now. Cause like I said, you've been busy, you've had a lot, and it's catch us up.
Yes, absolutely. So, yes. Many of you know I'm a family nurse practitioner specializing in family medicine, particularly currently have my own practice where I am in integrative medicine. So, many of you know I'm a hormone specialist, weight loss specialist, gut health, all the above, because it's all connected. And that's my passion. That's my passion. But I also have a side passion that I got into a few years ago with detox. So, people who are addicted to opioids, alcohol, cocaine, meth, you name it. So I help these patients come off of that. And I'm currently working at a clinic where I'm their main NP, and they're actually helping me get my license in Tennessee and hopefully in the future North Carolina. And then I've got locations here in Georgia. So long story short, I really do like helping people because I see how addiction can seep into all aspects of life, relationships, jobs, spiritual, everything, and it can ruin all of that. So when these people become clean, they can actually focus on their purpose in life. So I like to be a part of that by helping them come clean. So with that being said, I went on a trip with a friend to Mexico. My husband's Mexican. I'm very familiar with Mexico. I love it. I speak Spanish fluently. So we flew, and it was first class, by the way. I never did that. That was so fun. I was like,
Bougie.
whoa, this is nice. I've never been.
Lounges, first class life. You never go
Yeah, we
back.
went to the lounge. I'm like, what is this? This is like super bougie. So I went with my friend, very close friend of mine, near and dear to my heart, and we're going to partner in helping people detox from addiction, but we're like even outside the borders. So we're going to Mexico and hopefully Turkey and other countries, but we specifically want to get with the Mexican consulate. We are getting with the Mexican consulate and planning this to see how we're going to make it happen. So what I truly believe is, and even in my own practice, I have goals like a charity program I want to do, but I'm an entrepreneur and I have to make a living, take care of my family, etc. So I believe you have to have abundance in order to take care of others. And I always used to read that like in books and just, oh, you have to think abundance. But now I really know what that means.
Yeah, you
Because
connect it. Yeah.
when you have $100 and that covers all of your bills, let's say you only need 50 to cover all your bills and you have 50 left, it doesn't hurt to be able to take away from your, that 50 and give it away because you've already completed all the things you need for your life. So in a bigger spectrum, what I mean is, when I get to a point in my clinic where I have more than enough money, I want to open my clinic one Saturday a month and take care of people that are underprivileged or need it in our country for free. So, battered women shelters, single moms, women struggling addiction, whatever it may be, I want to be able to help them in all of my capacity, whether that's weight loss, hormones, gut health, or even women that have lost their confidence after being, let's say, abused or whatnot, and they need some Radiesse to lift their face and some lip filler to give them a little bit of their confidence back or relax those wrinkles, whatever the case may be. I want to offer one clinic, one Saturday a month for free. And it's coming, it's around the corner. I know it's going to be sooner than later. And it's insane because when I tell my patients this, my current patients, almost all of them have said, how can I help you? I'll donate. Do you need like extra nursing staff off label that we're not nurses, but we can help you move patients in and out of the room, clean up after you, whatever, set up your room for you. everybody has volunteered in one way or another. And I'm like, my heart is so full. So I know that I thought I was going to be doing this by myself, but then like there's just help all around when they hear people are so good, Nicole. Like we're in this place in our country where I think people see things so negatively right now, but there's so many good people out there with big hearts.
There
And
really is.
it just takes like someone to have this plan, and then others, even though maybe they don't have the plan, they want to help in some way. So it's just beautiful. I'm excited.
I love that. And if you guys are not watching this on the actual video portion, like I'm grinning from ear to ear. And I am so very selective with who I bring into my inner circle and into my world, just because energy and energetics is such a big piece of, saving my energy to be able to pour into my community and my team. Right. And Bouquet is a part of my world for a reason, just because everything that you do is just wholeheartedly what I stand for. And talk about filling your cup and filling your circle. And I talk often, your diet's not just what you eat, it's what you consume, it's who you surround yourself with, right? That really impacts and molds the person that you are. And I would love to partner with you and be able to give back, because I just think that's such a, I mean, it's so empowering and it's so powerful when you can help those are less fortunate then, right? And being able to, in any way, shape, or form, and on the nutrition end of it, on the training end of it, whatever you may need on my end to help support you, I would love to do so. Because talk about boss babe energy and talk about surrounding yourself with people who motivate the out of you. And Buka is definitely one of those people. And I just, like I said, I would love to collaborate, and I would love to, whatever I can do to help support you and give back on my end with what we do, I would love to do so. So
I'm
you
so
let
excited.
me know how I can
Yes.
help you.
Oh gosh, there's so many ways because on our podcast we talk about foundations and hormone health and weightlifting and nutrition and mindset and how all of that, like I can give women hormones all day long, but if the main goal is to build muscle and to lose weight, if I give them a GLP-1, they're going to lose weight, but they need those foundations. And so
Absolutely.
I'm excited that you're offering that because I know there's going to be lots of women that we're going to be able to help in that aspect as well. So yes, I know there's going to be some that are ready and willing to even like start lifting weights. And I think those will be the perfect ones to send your way so that you can
Perfect.
do that too.
Yeah,
Yay.
I love that. Love that. And we'll have to connect, obviously off camera and be able to work out some details,
Yeah.
because whatever you need for support there, I'm
Yes.
absolutely in.
Yes.
So this is why Bouquet's been a little MIA. She's had a
Yes.
lot on her plate, just kind
Oh,
of like
so
busy,
much.
busy, busy. But yeah, I was super excited because I know our listeners are like, where has she been? And just being able to fill them all in. But
Yeah.
I want to dive into, Bouquet and I decided today to record on, yes, we're going to talk hormones, but the less sexy, glamorous side of this is gut health. And this is something that the gut is so complex, and there is so much about the gut that we don't even understand still. But I really want to like pick your brain, Bouquet, and I'm going to let you do the majority of the talking here, because you trump me here any day of the week. I understand the basics and whatnot, but when it comes down to the science, the nitty gritty, all of those things, I really want to dive into this piece of it, because I had my own personal journey with Buka helping me optimize my gut. Like you guys, my gut was a mess with a capital M. It was bad. But I want to dive into, what do you mainly see when you have women and it's like, okay, we're doing the foundational pieces, we're optimizing your hormones, and something's still off, right? Like we're not seeing the movement that we want to see. And a big piece of this, like you said, is it's the GI mapping and it's the gut. So I'm just going to kind of let you steal the show here and dive into what you see, and maybe some tools and tactics that we can give our listeners if they are struggling, that they can
Yeah.
take to their practitioners or to their providers to help, advocate for themselves.
Yes, absolutely. So I think gut health is the foundation of all health. We know that 70%, this is science backed, of our immune system is in our gut. And with the GI map, which stands for gastrointestinal microbial assay plus, hence GI map, it's a PCR test, it's highly sensitive. With that, we can even see what's going on with your immune system in particular via this thing called secretory IgA. So this GI map tells me so much. It tells me, one, if you have any severe pathogens or bacteria or viruses that are causing issues currently. So if you've got severe diarrhea, blood in your poop, you're having vomiting, nausea constantly, there may be something super acute, meaning right now we need to fix it with something going on. So it's going to tell me if that's the case. It's going to tell me if there's bacterias or viruses that are growing, particularly bacteria that are a part of our natural microbiome. Most of us have staph, strep. A lot of you have heard these terms in our gut. However, our good bacteria and our immune system keeps it in check. So we have this harmonious, this homeostasis, this balance.
Mhm.
But when the balance becomes uneven, something's going on. Insert H. pylori, insert a parasite, insert low secretory IgA due to those things, whatever the case may be, then we have other problems. So this tells me acute infections. It tells me regular pathogens that are just overgrowing because of other things going on. It tells me what good bacteria you have. If you have too much of one good bacteria, because yes, that can happen due to inflammation, or if you don't have enough, or if there's a big issue with balance between the two kind of families of these
Mm.
nice good bacteria. Okay. So then it tells me that. And then it tells me what your gallbladder is doing. If you still have a gallbladder, tells me if you can metabolize fat properly, if you're processing it, or if you have fat in your poop. Okay. The other thing it'll tell me is your pancreatic function. So your pancreas is an endocrine organ, but a bigger part of it does the exocrine organ part, which is the digestion part. So your pancreas actually has a lot to do with digestion.
Mm.
So pancreatic enzymes, digestive enzymes interchangeably are used. And so I can see if your pancreas is functioning in its exocrine capacity as digestion through this map as well. It's incredible. Then I can see if your hormones are functioning properly. So in your gut, there's this phase 2 detox called it's called beta glucuronidase. It's an enzyme. If that enzyme is recycling the excess estrogen via I'm giving it to you, or you're a cycling woman and you have excess estrogen, if beta glucuronidase is not working properly, it's going to recycle and make you estrogen dominant
Mm.
because it's recycling and you're not releasing it. Well, how do you release it? Getting there. If you're constipated, you're not removing that excess estrogen. So it's all intertwined. You may need some help with that via calcium D-glucarate, which is something we can talk about in a minute when I specifically talk about hormones as it pertains to gut health and vice versa. So going down, we've got, I can see if there's blood in your poop. So if you have internal hemorrhoids, external hemorrhoids, that could be why there's poop, or there could be a bigger problem going on. I can also see if you're sensitive to gluten. I can see if you have a sensitivity to that, or if you're having histamine issues or allergy-like issues. I can see if your calprotectin is high, meaning it's going to kind of pretty much diagnose leaky gut if there's inflammation. I can see all of this. And it's incredible because I basically
Man.
told you from, we say mouth to anus for Crohn's disease, but literally mouth to anus, what's going on. And what's incredible is a lot of times I have women come in to see me for acne, and I'm like, we got to do a map. There's something going on in your gut that's triggering this. And lo and behold, we do a map, and they're sensitive to dairy, they're sensitive to gluten, they got H. pylori, they have a parasite, they have a certain type of gut bacteria that triggers autoimmune disorder, because there's certain gut bacteria that are linked to autoimmune disorders.
Mm.
The GI map tells me all of this. So that is what it is in a nutshell. But what happens is my patients typically come to see me, and what do they want, Nicole? What does most women come to see us for? They want to lose weight.
They want to lose weight
They want to lose weight, or they're having hot flashes. They can't stand it anymore and they need hormones. It's those two. So I
because
meet
those
my
are both
patients.
sexy, glamorous. They're buzz. They're, you know what I mean? And yep, 100%.
Absolutely, they're sexy. And guess what? I am going to meet my patient where they're at, because I try to put myself in the shoes as a patient. And if I think there's a problem I have, then I want my provider to hear me out, because the truth of the matter is they do need those themes checked. Like, we do need to do that.
Well, and
But if
losing body fat too is only going to help with some of these gut issues that we're having, right? Reducing body
absolutely,
fat is going to help
absolutely.
with that. So,
Definitely, definitely, definitely so. So I start where we're at. And it's interesting because my women will come to me, I'll fix their menopause symptoms, I'll help them with some weight loss. They start, lifting weights. And then they go, something's still off, Bouquet. And I'm like, well, let's talk. And they tell me themselves, they're like, I've listened to your podcast, or I've listened to your TikToks, I've listened to your page. I think I need a GI map. And I'm like, I'm glad you said it, because I was about to say that too. So we do a GI map, and then we see, gosh, you've got H. pylori, or your digestive enzymes are not working properly. No wonder you are bloated after each meal. No wonder you're not pooping regularly. Um, no wonder you're having estrogen dominant like symptoms. Beta glucuronidase is off the chain, right? So I can fix those things. But again, I meet my patient where they're at. They start feeling a little better, and then they're willing to go to the next step. The other thing is Nicole, I, as a provider, I know what you need from beginning to end because I live this, I study this. This is my career. This is my passion. And I want to throw the kitchen sink and say, all right, we're going to do your gut, and then we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. But it's very complicated and it becomes overwhelming.
Overwhelming. Yep.
Even though I sit in my chair and I think, when they're in my chair, when they're in my office, that's all they care about all day long is this, but it's not. It's one piece of someone's daily life. Like, they go on, they're a mom, they're a dad, they clean, they're cleaning their house, they're cooking, they're meal prepping, they have a job, they have much more things to do outside of Bouquet's office for that hour.
Yep.
So I have to think that way and give them bits and pieces. And then if I give them bits and pieces and they accomplish something, they're willing to, they have that habit for, foundation formed, then we can go on to the next thing. And then by the end of the year, they've done all of the things I offer in my practice and we're good to go. So again, most people, I have had some come in and they know they want a GI map because they're like, I want to start there. And it's great. Because if I have a choice, I would start with the map first. But it's not always the case. It doesn't matter though, as long as we get there. So how do we get there? A GI map is a poop test. Patients tell me, well, what is that? Like, what do we, yeah, tell them, Nicole, because you had to poop in the toilet, put on some gloves,
Yeah,
catch the poop, put it on
it's not
a French fry plate.
it's not sexy. It's not, you guys. It's really not, but it is so empowering when you get those results back. And I want to just intersect really quick before you go on, Bouquet, because I really want people to understand, just when we talk hormone health, you guys, and making sure that you're working with somebody who understands optimal hormones, your gut is the same concept. And this probably is not going to be your primary care provider. It's just not. So please, please, please. And no, I'm not bashing. I feel like I get this reputation of bashing people's PCPs, and I'm not. I'm just saying, ensuring that you're working with somebody who truly specializes in these areas, right? Hormones, gut health, they're two very complex systems that require somebody who, devotes their time and their resources to understanding these systems. And again, that's not, and I feel like a lot of people look to their PCPs as the end all be all.
Yeah.
And your PCP is not going to understand. I mean, they might get basic overview of those things in medical school. I'm not saying they know nothing about the gut, because that's unrealistic, but they don't understand it at the lengths of which, like, Bouquet studies. And so, or somebody who understands optimal gut health and specializes in this, because it is so complex. Just as hormones are so very complex, you guys, your gut health is so very, very, very complex. So please, please, please make sure that if you decide to go this route, that you're working with somebody who, again, truly understands it, and hopefully empowered enough to understand that fat loss, yes, while it is the piece that most people are going for, that if when something's off, like, your intuition knows, right? And if for some reason, I think what happens is women try to, they do all of the things, and that could be because their strategy is broken and they're going about it in ways that are unrealistic and their consistency is not there. But if you're somebody, and I get this all the time, Nicole, I know you say, consider, but I really am, I'm doing these things and I'm doing this and it's still not working. That's when we need to dig a little bit deeper, you guys. That's when hormones play a role. That's when gut health plays a role, right? And so really, when your intuition with your own body is the strongest. So please, please, please make sure that you're working with somebody who A, understands optimal, but B, studies, geeks out on this, is passionate about this, and can help you work through, and is treating, again, symptoms.
Yeah.
So that's my tangent. I'm going to step off my soapbox because I think that that's a missing piece of it for so many females.
Yeah, and I don't like to bash either, but I am going to bash for a minute, because when I was trained in traditional medicine, they told me, all right, if someone has acid reflux, give them Protonix, give them Prilosec, give them Nexium, these names that everybody's heard of. That's going to lead you to osteoporosis. You're going to break your bones. It's going to lead to other things it's not good for you. So you should not be on Tums and Pepcid and Prilosec and Nexium forever. Now,
They're Band-Aid fix, and they're not getting down to the root of what's really going on. They're trying to throw a Band-Aid on an open wound.
Oh my gosh, it's making H. pylori much more susceptible to live in your gut. H. pylori can live in hydrochloric acid, which is HCl, which is the acid we need to break down food. But Nexium and Prilosec reduce that acid, therefore allowing H. pylori to thrive even more and become much more virulent, which can happen, meaning it can lead to stomach cancer. H. pylori can, if you have a certain type of strain, or two types of strains together at the same time. So I'm not telling people to stop your Nexium, because if you do, or your Prilosec, you are going to have acid reflux with a vengeance. But what I am telling you is, find a provider who can get you off of it safely, transition you, and give you the right things to heal your gut so you don't have that in the first place.
Mhm.
You have acid reflux for a reason. There's something going on in your gut that's causing it. And so you need to get to the root cause. Also, giving people stool softeners because they're constipated. It dehydrates their colon. Teach them how to eat fiber, teach them how to drink water, give them electrolytes, and then fix whatever issues are in their gut so they're going to the bathroom regularly. Magnesium citrate helps with that. You don't need stool softeners. So the allopathic medicine is what it's called, and I am trained in it, and I'm proud to be trained in allopathic medicine because there's a time and place for that kind of medicine.
Mhm.
But most of the time, integrative medicine is what's needed. And so I'm trained in both. And so I know when it's time to send someone to the doctor. Like if I see your blood, there's blood in your poop and you don't have hemorrhoids and you don't have any issues, then I may send you to go see that allopathic doctor, gastroenterologist to get a colonoscopy. But for the most part, a lot of those things I can fix with supplementation, changing a lifestyle, telling you to eat foods that produce the type of fiber that the probiotics need to feed on to grow. So, yes, I know people think bashing and stuff, but if those primary care doctors wanted to train in this kind of medicine, like I did, they can. And if they don't, it's fine. There's a time and place to go to them. So, yeah, it's more so on the patient to realize, okay, this type of doctor that takes my insurance, I'm expecting them to ride the road like Bouquet does, but they're not going to. They
Mhm.
can't. They get 15 minutes to see you. Insurance pays for 15 minutes in and out. There's no way that I can review a map in 15 minutes and give you a plan. I need an hour. So that's healthcare in a nutshell right now. But back to the GI map, Nicole, there's so many ways to fix problems. So let's talk about H. pylori because you had H. pylori
Mhm.
and it's a B to get rid of.
It's a
Sometimes we have
bitch.
to do 2
Yeah.
rounds. And for you, I don't always use antibiotics, but in your case, I wanted to use it because we had to get rid of this guy. And it's not fun because then we have to replace your microbiome and get things back to normal. Sometimes I use antibiotics. Many times I'm using natural remedies like teas and certain things like mastic gum. And I know I'm throwing out some info here, and I know there's going to be listeners that are going to start writing it down, and that's what they want to take. Don't do that because everything is individualized. There's other herbs that I may use depending on your map to get rid of things. So I will be talking about supplements that I use, but please don't take it as
The end all
like
be all or what you should
end
be
all be
doing.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah, because ultimately you need a map so I can individualize it for you. So H. pylori, you can get it how, Nicole? You can travel outside the country, you can get it in Mexico.
Yep.
You can also get it here in the US, and where it comes from is um, fecal matter,
Contamination. People not washing their
contamination.
hands, like just, yep.
Yeah. People not washing their hands when they're cooking, you go into the buffet and grabbing it. But why do we get it in the first place? If our gut is in tip-top shape, these pathogens shouldn't be allowed to thrive. So I'm going somewhere with that. The terrain, the environment needs to be in tip-top shape. The right probiotics need to be in our gut. Digestion needs to be on point. We need to be removing estrogen properly from our gut. Our enzymes need to be working properly. Our secretory IgA, which if it's inflamed, if there's too much, then we need, if there's too little, then we need to replace it with like colostrum, for example.
Mhm.
And I get on this soapbox. Everybody wants to take colostrum. Everybody does not need colostrum. Colostrum is you don't take it. Everybody does not need it because if I do a GI map and I see that your secretory IgA is high, why are you going to continue to give yourself colostrum to make it even worse? Again, balance. Too much of something is not good either.
Mhm.
So I don't prescribe colostrum unless I know that they have a low secretory IgA. And a lot of people do, but I have seen some high secretory IgAs as well, in which giving them colostrum puts fuel to the fire. So again, these gut, digestive enzymes you could blindly take if you're bloating and you're burping and you're having, finding food particles in your poop, you're not digesting properly. Sure, try it. But the gold standard would be a map. So going down the map, Nicole, fixing that terrain was really important for you. So for you, I
Sweet.
decided to get rid of the H. pylori first and your parasite, which is hard. We had to do 2 rounds for H. pylori.
Mhm.
But typically there is die-off symptoms, and you had those die-off symptoms. They're bad. You feel
They're
like you're getting
brutal.
the flu, you feel sick, like I think something's wrong. And it truly is like a flu because these this bacteria is dying off and you're pooping it out and you feel miserable. It's a good thing though, because it's proof that it's working and it's getting it, you're clearing it. Now I can't always clear H. pylori 100%, but what I want to do is I want to get it to close to as undetectable as possible. So what that means is in a map, it'll come up red. I want to get it to where it's not red anymore. And then we want to keep fixing your terrain to prevent you from getting it again. So what does that mean? Putting in the right probiotics, replacing the right probiotics, adding Saccharomyces boulardii S. boulardii, which is really important too for gut health. And we just talk about, for example, Akkermansia is a gut bacteria that we found in 2006, I think. It actually works as a GLP-1 in your gut. You don't know how many women I see, Nicole, that are having trouble losing weight and they're having sugar cravings. And I look and they have no Akkermansia. And I'm like, well, this is why your own GLP-1 receptors in your gut not working properly. Let's replace it. And there's also another thing. I have a GI map that I'm going to review this week. I'm excited. She has severe sugar cravings. She's got an overgrowth of candida in her gut, and that's where her sugar cravings are coming from. So we're gonna have to do an anti-candida diet. We're gonna have to use, and I use diflucan or nystatin, allopathic medicine, time and place for it to get rid of that candida. And then hopefully once that's cleared, she will not have those sugar and carb cravings like she did before. So there's a lot of things that I can tell you with your gut, like especially if a woman tells me I'm craving sugar all the time, Bouquet, like I gotta have sugar. Well, maybe you're not an addict to sugar. Maybe you have an overgrowth of candida and it's feeding itself, like it's craving that. So then your cravings coming from your gut, right?
Yep.
So it's not a willpower thing. You have an overgrowth of candida and candida likes to eat sugar. And so it's going to tell you what it wants.
And how
So
powerful all these tactics are. I just want to interject here because again, this is everything that we preach, but how powerful all of these tactics that Bouquet are giving you combined with mastering the basics, right? Combined with getting enough fiber and combined with getting enough protein and to be able to help with these so-called cravings, right? You take all of these approaches, these functional approaches that aren't reliant on medication, that aren't reliant on, you know, something that keeps you quote unquote sick, and being able to then put yourself in the driver's seat, you guys. And this is why this podcast exists, to be able to give you guys these tools and tactics to not just educate for yourself, but actually implement. Like this is going to require you taking action. And so, you know, being able, this is again, the basics and the foundations, they're not sexy. They're not, but they, oh my gosh, do they just make a world of a difference when you truly master them? So I just wanted to interject that piece of it with what, you know what I mean? If you are struggling with gut, and I was one of those, like I attempted a fat loss phase and I was not seeing the results. I'm like, because something's off. Like I understand this shit up, down, left, sideways. I was consistent AF. I know for a fact it wasn't a tracking issue. My gut was a mess. It was a mess. And it took 4 months, you guys, 4 months for me to clear all this stuff out. I couldn't do it in one fell swoop. I was anxious. I just wanted to get it done, but it happens in stages. But there is no way I would have been able to do and that's what I was telling Bouquet. I'm like, I just think back to, you know, the clients that we serve and truly having to give them the basics and being able to take somebody, because like, you're definitely my most consistent patient. I'm like, but it's because I have these basics mastered. There's no way I would have been able to take all the protocols because they were extreme, you guys. I mean, girlfriend took me off of caffeine. Girlfriend took me off of artificial sweeteners. Girlfriend took me off of gluten. Girlfriend took me off of dairy. She took me off of everything that I found enjoyment with life with, right? And so being able to take these protocols and execute was, I mean, it wasn't fun, but it was needed. And I still understood how to hit my protein without having dairy. I still understood how to like work around these protocols. But this is again, why we preach and we just, you know, until I'm blue in the face, I will forever talk about the basics and the foundations, because that's the only way you'll ever be able to tackle the deeper rooted things that are a bit more complex.
Do you remember what I gave you kind of from step one? It was a peptide that you took that you were like, oh my gosh, this really, because
CJC. Yep. BPC. Sorry, not CJC. BPC. We were taking
yes,
CJC
for building
from
muscle.
Maryland.
Yes.
Yeah. BPC.
But BPC
5-7.
57, body protective compound.
Mm-hmm.
What did you tell me one thing? You were like, oh my gosh, I'm pooping every day. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel like I've released all of my colon in one sitting.
Yeah, like seriously, and they were just quality bowel movements, right? 'Cause I was pooping daily, but it wasn't quality. And I don't like, I guess, how do you explain quality bowel movements? But it was like, I felt like every single time I went to the bathroom, I lost 5 pounds. I was like, yes. I was like,
I
yeah, this is
remember once
good.
you sent me a picture, you're like after poop and your stomach was like
I
so
like
flat.
super flat. I was like, this is like, and it just, I mean, but I was like, it wasn't that that connected it for me. Cause to me, I'm like, I go to the bathroom daily, but it wasn't like that. And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I like this. Like, you know what I mean? When you walk out feeling 5 pounds less, you're like,
It
this
feels
was
good.
fire. Yeah.
So BPC 157 stands for body protective compound, and it's actually found, it's a peptide found all peptides are found naturally in the body. Insulin is a peptide. So what we do is we make it outside of the body to replenish. GLP-1s are peptides that are naturally found in the body, but people are deficient. So the semaglutides, terzepatides, and zepbounds we make outside of the body to replace it, right?
Yep.
So same thing with probiotics. They're not really necessarily peptides, but BPC 157 is a peptide. It didn't get rid of your H. pylori. That wasn't the reason why I gave it to you. I gave it to you to reduce inflammation in your gut because it was inflamed from all that, and to just help with that lining and help to kind of seal it a little bit. So I gave that to you. You felt good right away. I typically will give BPC 157 to patients for a few months while we're doing these phases of gut health. And it helps. It helps with reducing inflammation, tissue repair, and in particular repairing the gut. So that's why you felt so good. It was working immediately. And and this peptide is found in gastric juices naturally. So we figured out how to make it in the lab and replace it. So it's beautiful. So the oral capsule in particular is really good with healing the gut. So I do this in 3 to 4 phases. The first phase, I like to kill the bad guys because I think if we get rid of the bad guys, then the terrain can kind of fix itself. The environment can fix itself as much as it can. Then, after we get rid of the bad guys, I like to recheck, make sure we got rid of them or minimized it and the patient feels better. And then we look at replacing. All right, I may be giving you digestive enzymes, replacing certain gut bacteria that you're missing, Akkermansia, S. boulardii, bifidobacterium, whatever, lactobacillus, whatever probiotics the case may be, replacing that. But I don't want to overwhelm patients with supplements.
Yeah.
So I do give supplements, but I teach my patients, okay, listen, I don't want you taking supplements for life. Let's fix and heal your gut, but let's really see what foods we can take this from. So polyphenols are my favorite.
Berries.
Cranberries, raspberries, berries, strawberries, blueberries, all of pomegranates, the purples. That's going to really help produce some of these good probiotics. So fiber is really important. Beans, greens, vegetables. See, all the things that your mommy told you to eat when you're a baby are what you need to be eating because that is what the probiotics feed on. If you're eating a bunch of processed foods, those bacteria that like the bad processed foods, and I don't want to say bad, but it really is, those bacteria will feed on the processed food and they'll multiply and make more of that. And this is where we get that balance thrown off.
Yep.
Because then the staph and the streps like to grow and create issues because you're not feeding the good bacteria. So it's a war. It's a war in your gut, and you want to always have the good to win, right? And in order for the good to win, you have to feed your body, your gut, what
80%
it
whole
needs.
foods. That's why we talk about
Yeah,
this
whole foods.
so
I
often.
mean,
It
you
is
can
so
have a
critical.
cookie. I mean, crumble cookies are great. I saw you doing the thing with your son. I thought that was so cute. Sure, if 80% of the time what you're eating is good, then you can take a little hit here and there and your gut will be like, we're fine, we'll rebalance. But if that's what you're eating 80% of the time, then girlfriend, you are going to grow candida and you are going to grow, yeast. You're going to grow bacteria. H. pylori is going to find a way to get in your gut. It's all of that's going to happen. So if you think of food in terms of gut health, when you eat next time, think, am I feeding my good bacteria to fight for me, for my gut to stay balanced? Or am I eating this food to then make my body struggle and cause inflammation? That's what happens, Nicole. This foreign food, like processed Takis, comes into your gut. Okay, Takis comes into your gut, and your body says, what the is this? And then it's like, I don't recognize it. Well, the bad guys like to feed on it because they're like, this is junk. I mean, this is whatever. Then your immune system attacks it and says, I don't recognize this. If you consistently eat those foods, your gut lining becomes damaged. And instead of being closed like this, tight junctions, it starts to open and allow gaps. And this is when whole food, not whole food, like good food, but whole particles of these food-like things get into the bloodstream and then turns your immune system on to attack it. And now here we have secretory IgA is low or it's high. Your body's attacking its gut because you're not feeding the things to repair. Your gut lining is one thing in your body that repairs constantly. It's repairing, it's trying to repair, and it needs to be given the right things. So that takes me to the next step. We've killed the bad guys. We've replaced the good with food and lifestyle and supplements. Now we need to seal and heal the gut. This may be another round of BPC 157, or it may be like zinc and glutamine, some other powder. I like one powder that has like everything that you need because I don't want people to have so many supplements every
Yeah.
day that you take, and it literally helps rebuild your gut. So now I'm going somewhere with this. You do a gut detox with me. We fix your gut, we clean it, do all the things, and you're feeling great. Now you have to maintain. So if you don't, you're going to easily destroy your gut again, and we're going to start over, which is fine. So I do recommend a GI map once a year or once every 2 years, because we're human and we can fall into old habits and then destroy our gut again. So the good thing about it is when you destroy your gut, you can heal it. But then when you heal it, you can destroy it easy again too. So you got to be able to maintain. And so then there's like a maintenance as well.
Same thing for fat loss, right?
Absolutely.
You can lose the weight, but then you can also gain it all back if you fall victim to
Yeah.
old habits, patterns, beliefs, and whatnot that were keeping you stuck. So
Yeah.
got the same way. I truly believe, because I'm one of those that really, like, I eat, sleep, and breathe everything that I preach, you guys. So I
Yeah,
am
you do.
90+% whole food sources. I train, I get my set, like everything that I preach, I eat, sleep, and breathe. But I truly believe my gut got so off kiltered when I was prepping, because I was going to compete. And my body at that point just got to a space. And I always say, you guys, your leanest self is not your happiest self. My body was just, I was a shell of a human being. And I remember getting my hormones, and I got a Dutch test back, and I'm getting my hormones done. And at that time I was working with somebody very prominent in the online space, but he's, how are you even functioning? I'm like, what are you talking about? I feel fine. He's like, you have no hormones. How are you functioning? And I truly believe that's when my gut got so off. Like my whole just my body just was just not functioning in general. And it was just accumulation from that time period. And it just got worse and worse and worse. And I would, you guys, and so small things that, I guess really not necessarily small, that I feel like a lot of females almost accept as being normal. So for me, walking around every single time I ate, I bloated. Like it looked like I was 6 months pregnant, and I just accepted that as being normal. You guys, that's just not normal. It's not normal. So I'm just saying, these little things that, you might accept as just kind of just quote unquote what it is, just be really in tune with. My hair was falling out in chunks. Like there was just a lot of things that were going on that I was classifying as quote unquote normal. And I knew in my mind, I did a ringer on my body looking to compete. And I was really at that point healing, and I went through a reverse. I went through all these things, but my gut I never healed it. And so taking the time that I took with Bouquet, and it was a pretty brutal, 3.5 to 4 months. I'm not going to lie. It challenged me. And I was like, I remember that time I texted you and I'm like, dude, because my like treat in life is, I love an energy drink. I drink like 3 of them a week. They're a treat for me. Like I watch my caffeine intake. I drink decaf coffee so I can have an energy drink. Like, but it's just something for me. It's fizzy. I'm fizzy, especially in the summer when it's hot, and it's just a treat. I remember looking, because she pulled artificial sweeteners for me. And so I was like in the grocery store, and I was just looking at the energy drinks, and like my eyes watered up. And I'm like, this is so pathetic. And so it was definitely a challenge. And it was like 4 months of, really having to be extremely mindful to be able to work through it. But you guys, once we cleared out all of these things, like I can eat without getting bloated. Like it's just been a game changer. My last fat loss phase was extremely successful.
Oh gosh. I mean,
Yeah,
I would
before I,
almost venture to say you're really lean. You were really lean, and you weren't having those same symptoms you were the first time you were trying
yeah,
to cut, or when you
exactly.
became
Mhm.
really lean last time. Yeah.
Yep. And so I had tried a fat loss phase, and I just wasn't seeing any movement. And that's when it's finally like, okay, something is off. And Bouquet's been working with me for a while now to help optimize my hormones. So I knew it wasn't on the hormone side of it. It was, I knew it was on the gut health side of it. And so that's when we, obviously did the GI mapping and stuff. So
Do you remember why I took you off of the artificial sweeteners? The reason why is it can actually cause issues with your gut bacteria. It will make the bad ones feed on it. It can cause insulin resistance. It plays a significant role with immunity and digestion.
yep.
So it can disrupt all that. So I wanted to make sure, again, talking about the terrain, remove the bad guys. And that's not just what's already in the gut, it's what's outside in your environment too.
And what you're
Um,
introducing
I mean, and
into.
now that
Yeah.
one energy drink a week or two is fine. So the thing with you also, Nicole, I think you're a fast metabolizer, and we talked about this before. I'm not. If I have, like, right now it's 8:50 p.m. in Atlanta, Georgia. If I drink a coffee right now, I'll be up all night. I'm a slow metabolizer when it comes to caffeine. You're
See, I
fast
could,
metabolizer.
yeah, I could drink
So
I could drink espresso right now and I could go to
Oh,
bed.
exactly. So for you particularly, yes, the sweeteners, but caffeine in general is not too bad because your body processes it great. I have my one coffee in the morning, and in fact, I've been drinking this strong coffee that I really like now. It has L-theanine in it. It's like a latte.
Mhm.
I love it. There's no jitters with it because I am a very slow metabolizer. That caffeine will stay in my system for 4 or 5 hours and I'm go, go, go. So if I drank an espresso right now, I'll be up until 4
Yeah,
a.m.
yeah.
So yeah, so then that's how you also know, guys, if you want to know, okay, is caffeine, does my body metabolize it properly? Drink a coffee like at 3 p.m. And if you're up really late till like 11, 12, can't go to bed, there's your answer.
Yeah,
But if you
that's
go right to bed after having coffee like Nicole, then you're a fast metabolizer. Go shoot your shot. Drink as much coffee as you want
I
or
also
caffeine.
found it really interesting too, because sorry, I cut you off. I realized when you told me, you're like, girl, you can't have gluten. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm not
Yeah, you're
celiac. I've
sensitive.
never had any sort of like reaction to gluten. And so the test is, it's very like, even one of those, if you don't have any symptoms, almost just having it done just to get a better understanding of what's going on with your
Absolutely.
body kind of thing. And so will I eat gluten to this day? Yes, but I avoid it when I don't eat a lot of gluten to begin with, you guys. So let's just, I mean, that's one of those things, but there were certain things like bread for me, I had to replace with gluten-free bread, which is fine. And if I go out and like date night or girls night out, then I'll have a dessert and I'm fine. But I do believe it's helped with the bloating as far as
Yeah.
obviously, reducing my gluten intake. So, but I
So
would have no idea because I don't have celiac. It's not like I would react to it
you
when I
don't.
ate gluten.
Mhm.
I just had no idea that I was, and not just a little sensitive, you guys, my body's extremely sensitive to gluten. So it was like, it showed at that
What
very high
happened when
range.
you brought back something? What was it? You brought something back and you could see you were sensitive to it. I don't know if it was gluten or if it was other types of dairy. I can't remember what it was, but you're like, man, I do feel like my
If I
body.
eat any dairy outside of like Greek yogurt, I can do Greek yogurt and my body responds really well. Thank hallelujah. Cause you guys know how much I love my yogurt bowls. I would be so
Yes, your
sad.
yogurt bowls. That's what
Yeah,
you were
like
referring to. You're
re-introducing
like,
because
oh,
I had to let
coming.
that
You
go
can
for
get
a
back
while
into
too.
it.
You guys, that was sad. That was like really sad. But I have noticed with like dairy, like if I were to just try and drink milk, my body is like, but Greek yogurt, but I can do lactose free. So I think it's a lactose thing. So I can do like Fairlife, like the lactose free, and they have some versions of it that I can do. But yeah, it's just interesting when you're that in tune with your body though, when
Really?
you eat something and you automatically know what your body like says
Yeah.
yay or nay to, right? And so it's not that there's anything wrong. And let me make this very clear because I feel like people like, if I cut out dairy, I'm going to lose weight. If I and often is it bad? And it's like, it's not bad unless your body doesn't respond well to it. If
Right.
it's dairy can be an amazing protein source. And if you can eat dairy if your body responds well to it. There's nothing wrong with dairy. There's nothing wrong with gluten if your body responds well to
Right.
gluten. So like my husband had a GI map done. It was one of those, like, you almost just like freaking men. He thinks about wanting to
Oh,
lose weight. Like he just cuts out a couple sodas or whatever, like, doesn't eat a fast food and he like drops 20 pounds. Of course, his map comes back and it's just like, he's got a gut of a soul. Like, it's just like, totally fine. No sensitivities to gluten, no sensitivities to really anything. Like, I'm just like, of
he
course.
was just missing a
The
strain. I think
acromegaly,
he was missing acromantia.
acromantia, yeah, because so I have him eating more berries and stuff to help with
Berries.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
polyphenols. Exactly. Yeah, I remember.
So,
It's coming back to me now. It's all
yeah.
coming back to me. So, yeah, so the I wanted to talk about something and it slipped my mind. We were talking about something. I totally forgot.
Just as far as
I
like the
forgot.
different gut protocols, we were talking about H. pylori.
Oh, yeah. So like symptoms, people always like I did a TikTok and it went like people were asking questions. What are the symptoms of H. pylori? Well, burping, belching, bloating, and you know what? Beyond that, anxiety, irritability, trouble
mm,
sleeping. Yes, it can cause mental health things. It absolutely can. It can make you feel bonkers. Um, Bad breath. So another thing, remember Nicole, I was telling you you had to like, and it's not just you, everybody has to do this. Change their toothbrush.
mhm.
Like you have to change it. You either wash it with soap or boil it, or I just tell people to go buy a bunch of Dollar Tree. You know why? Because you can have H. pylori in your saliva in your mouth. So you want to make sure you're not giving it back to yourself, right? And then partners too, which is great. Your
Well, that's why
husband,
we had Matt's tested, because you're like, you guys are probably swatting spit and
I
like
mean,
giving
you're
it back and
kissing
forth to each other,
constantly.
right? So
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So that's really important. And there's like an H. pylori diet. I had one, I think it's a mutual client of ours that had severe H. pylori. She probably, I mean, she's amazing. She's already shared her information so many times. You probably know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And she was just like, Bouquet, wow, I did not realize how much that H. pylori affected me. And so we cleared it, and I mean, her diarrhea went away. Just so much. Like, she did a testimonial for me, and I think she posted on your page too about it, and it was beautiful because do you know how many people are suffering with that, you know? And
And accepting it
so
as
that's,
normal. Like I was one
yeah,
of those, like, oh, this is just normal. And it's not, you guys, it's not
it's
normal.
not.
So if you pull
If
anything
you
from
wake up in the
this,
morning, if you wake up in the morning, your stomach's flat, but then you start eating throughout the day and you go to bed and you look 6 months pregnant, that's not normal.
yeah. And there's a difference between a little bit of, your stomach being full. I think people confuse this too. Like your stomach's full. It's natural
Bloating,
for
like
your,
you have
yeah.
to chop open your pants
Yeah,
and your
like
stomach
that's not
full.
normal. So if you like can't button up your pants after a meal, you guys, that's normal. But it's like your stomach pooches out a little bit, you have food in your system, that's normal. And I think people like look at normal bloat, or not normal, like just food in their system as like extreme bloat, and they're not the same thing. So just
No,
just be
it's like
aware of the two,
six
I
months
guess.
pregnant, sticking out, you're uncomfortable, it
Yeah.
hurts, you're
And mine
bloated.
would happen, like I wouldn't even eat. I would just randomly get bloated, and it just would, like I'm like, okay, I'm not even eating anything. And all of a sudden I look 6 months pregnant and I'm so uncomfortable. It's like, I don't know if I need to poo. I don't know if like, but nothing's there. And it just like shows up out of nowhere. And so that's been, as far as me, that's been the biggest thing I've noticed, is just the decrease. And I just have normal,
Yeah,
like I eat a big meal and, my belly's happy and full. I don't bloat anymore though. It's just been a game
yeah,
changer, a complete game
yeah.
changer. So,
And this fat loss phase for you has been beautiful. Like, we
oh,
fixed your gut, you did all your protocols that you normally do for cutting phase, and it was just beautiful. You looked great. I mean, you look
yeah.
great.
Yeah,
And
it
you still
was.
look lean to me. I mean,
Yeah, I have, I'm actually in a phase where, I mean, not like trying to like, you know, gloat or anything, but I haven't necessarily been able to put weight on. And I've been trying, not necessarily putting on body fat, but I'm like, I like my body with a little bit more curves. And so I'm not in a place yet where I want to do a full blown building phase, but I mean, I definitely keep pushing my calories up, and I've sustained and maintained my weight, and I'm not complaining. I'm not gloating or anything, but it's just one of those things. I'm like, okay, maybe I need a small building phase this winter just to kind of put some curves back onto my body. Cause I did lean out, and I was going through it for a very specific look for my wedding,
yeah.
and I achieved the look, but now I'm like,
How
okay,
many how many how
how
many
many
calories
watts?
are you eating a day? How many
Oh, right
calories are you
now,
eating? Uh-huh.
23 to 25, somewhere in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you hear that? 2,300 to 2,500 calories.
Yeah.
Wow.
Daily. And but here's the thing, you guys, I'm also not tracking, right? Because I'm a firm believer we track for the short term, so you don't have to track for the long term. I don't want
Yeah.
anybody attached to a food scale or tracking out for the rest of
Yeah.
their life. But I'm very, I've tracked long enough to know and get really freaking close. And I eat intuitively, and
Yes,
I've been
you
able
know.
to,
Yeah, you
yeah,
know.
I've been able to sustain and
Yeah.
maintain my weight just fine. But I'll track occasionally once a month, just to kind of get a gauge about, and I'm always right in that, right in that range. So but
Yeah.
I did, I ended my cut on pretty low calories, but I was on a time crunch too. And so I was trying to get it done. I was trying to get in and out. I was definitely like, I didn't start until February, like mid-February, because we had our cruise, and I didn't want to be dieting for my cruise. And so I had February to May to really get in and get out. And so calories got pretty aggressive for me, but I've reversed, I was on the lower end for a while. I lived at 1,200 calories for the last like probably 4 or 5 weeks of my cut. And then reversed out. So I've gone from like 1,200 calories up to 23 to 25 without
Wow.
putting
Any
on
weight gain. Look at
any weight
that.
gain. I know, which is great. Like I fluctuate, of course, the normal 2 to 3 pounds, and that's normal, but I'll, jump up a few pounds and then I'll drop back down. So, but that's also too, like, being able to do vacations and honeymoons and all of those things. Like this is the power, you guys, when you master your basics, when you have enough muscle to your frame, this is phases, dieting and phasing, being able to take periods of time like I had to do for healing my gut. Like I wanted to start my cut sooner, and there was just no way I could do that with the gut healing that I needed to do for me to see results from that anyway. So understanding phases, mastering basics it's absolutely vital for your long-term success. I'm not talking short-term in the moment. Anybody can just slash calories. And if you're like in phases where I was, even slashing the calories wasn't working for me because my gut was just so freaking inflamed. It was so insane.
Right. I
But
remember that. Right, right,
Yeah.
right. Which was beautiful also because you recognize that and you're like, okay, I'm not going to do a cutting phase.
Yep.
I'm not going to make my body suffer
It's off the
because
table right
if
now.
your gut's not working properly, and then now you're going to push yourself through a cutting phase anyways, you're going to mess up your thyroid and just things aren't going to function. So that was smart of you to be able to be like, okay, let's just not, it's not, my body's not ready for that. And that's really hard sometimes because like pride can get in the way for some, right? They're like, okay, I've done all this. Now I'm ready for this cut. I'm going to make it happen. But your body doesn't react, doesn't respond. It's not ready. You can't
Well,
be
just
stressed. And
for
gut
sure.
health, gut inflammation is a stress on your body.
Massive stress.
So yeah,
I'm
yeah,
grateful to be able to work with one of the best too. This is again, you guys, why we preach being able to work with somebody who truly understands these things, not just if that's any, like that's all that our listeners pull from this is really educating themselves and finding a provider that will A, treat off of symptoms, not just labs, but B, listen to
yeah,
you and help to educate you. And you allow yourself to educate for yourself and,
right.
advocate for yourself. I shouldn't say educate, advocate for yourself because you know when something's wrong. And for somebody to pinpoint that and be like, oh, you're just depressed or, oh, you just need to do this or no, 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 like advocate and really, really like, you're the only one that can advocate for yourself. And so being able to find somebody that can support you on this journey opposed to like chastising you and just pointing you in the direction of, an antidepressant or, traditional, sad, medical advice. It really, if that's all that you pull from this podcast today would be that. So do you have anything you want to wrap up with, Bouquet, for gut health?
No, no. I mean, I think that I know a lot of people ask me like, what's your favorite probiotic? And it's hard to say I have one that's really good that has all of them in it, but I'm hesitant to just throw probiotics at people.
Their
Like, okay,
Band-Aid
you have
fix.
to take it forever. It won't hurt, but the best thing is really gold standard is a GI map. It really is.
Mm.
There's other maps out there. There's other gut like health. I just find that this PCR assay is just the best. I think it's the best. It's very, very specific. It tells me all things, including how you're metabolizing or removing estrogen and if you're removing it properly, which is really important because if I'm giving you estrogen and you're a woman going through menopause and, I check your map and your beta glucuronidase is off the chain, then I know that that phase 2 detox process is not working properly. And I need to give you a supplement to help move it down that right pathway. I need to make sure you're pooping regularly.
Mm.
So I like it because it tells me that too. And because I give hormones, that's like my number one thing I do in my practice. I want to make sure that we are removing it properly. It's okay to give a woman hormones, but can she remove it from her body properly? That's really important too. So the map tells me that.
I love that. And correct me if I'm wrong. If they wanted to work with you, even if you're not licensed in their state for GI mapping, could they? Because you could ship that to them. Could you read their GI mapping or?
Yes. So, yes. And I do have actually a couple of girls when we were doing your Zoom call, monthly Zoom call, and they're going to fly out once a year to see me. So that's the caveat. If I'm not doing hormones and it's just a GI map or it's functional medicine in general, you just have to come see me once a year.
Okay,
And
so they still have to see you once a year, even for the
yeah,
GI
unless
mapping.
I'm
Okay,
licensed in the state.
got
So,
it, got it, got it.
I do have a couple of gals that are in Tennessee that won't have to ever see me in person again because I'll have my license.
License, got it.
But there are a few, like in Ohio, that are going to fly out. I have one that's in New York that flies out. In fact, she's coming soon to see me again. So, if I don't have a license in your state, you got to see me at least once a year.
Got it.
Mhm.
Got it. Got it. Well, it's just an excuse for me to come out and see you. So I don't
Yes,
mind. But
yes,
I thought for some reason GI mapping was separate than hormones. I guess. I mean, I knew for hormones, I would have to come and see you. Hormones are twice a year, I believe. But
yes,
I wasn't sure about GI mapping, how that worked with
yes,
like the legalities behind it.
because it's still I have a license as a medical provider, so it's still medical advice. And
Got it.
if I'm licensed in the state that that patient lives in, then I can't see them unless they come to see me once a year in my office, in my practice. So it's a legal thing. It's I don't know. I like to follow the rules because I want to protect my license. So it's important that I give my patients.
100%.
And you know what? And the people, I mean, heck, sometimes it costs more to fly out to see me than the actual procedure itself with me. But when you find a good provider and you're happy with them, you're willing to go. I know if there's someone in California that I really liked and trust, I don't mind flying out. I'll fly out.
Yeah.
People, when they want answers and they're sick and tired of being tired and sick, and they find
Well,
someone
think about the
online
thousands of
to
dollars you're
connect with.
spending on people that aren't giving you answers or
Yes,
solutions and the root cause
yes,
and, kind of just like putting you in a circle that you just keep running around
yes.
in. So, I mean, when you
Because
compare
even in
that cost,
even in functional medicine, Nicole, like you just have to be careful. You have to be picky because some people are like, eh, just make sure that whoever you go to see is passionate about what they do. And I think it's pretty easy to see if they're passionate
well, do
because
your
that
research,
provider,
transformations, testimonials, all of those things. Do your advocate for yourself. Do your research. I say the same thing when people are looking for a coach. Do
yeah,
your research.
yeah,
Same thing for a medical provider, right? Just
yes,
any area where you're looking
oh
for somebody to
no,
guide you. It's your body.
yeah.
It is like that's the only body you have. Do your research. It's your hard-earned money. It's an investment in yourself. So make sure that you are, you resonate with that person
Yeah.
and yes, okay, somebody lost quote unquote the weight, but did they keep it off? Same thing for you. Somebody says that they feel, but were they able to heal this long term, right? Like, so being able to really advocate for yourself in that space of it, if you're going to invest, your money is something that I would really encourage absolutely everybody to do. So
And investing in your patients, because I know you invest in your clients. If something didn't work out, if they're struggling with something, you're finding ways. You'll
oh,
reach
for
out to
sure.
me, be like, hey, this and this is going on. What do you think? Like, because you care, you know, you could easily be like, I don't know what's going on. It's out of my scope. I don't know. I don't know where to send you. And I'm the same way. I'm the first one to say, I don't know everything. I don't know everything, but I'm willing to research and
Research
find
it, figure it
answers.
out. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I
So,
think you're so much like we are, like their journey becomes our journey. Same thing, you know what I
uh,
mean? Their journey is now your journey. And that's something that you take personally. And
yep.
you're dedicating yourself to, finding a solution and giving them light at the end of the tunnel and a way out. And so it's just something that, when you work with somebody who's passionate, it shows. It absolutely shows in their work and the way that they speak and the way they present themselves.
And I don't know if you've noticed this, and you may have, but I feel like I attract patients that are like me.
For
My
sure.
personality, I'm like really lovey-dovey, touchy-feely. I like to hug my patients. Like I always ask them, "Are you a hugger?" They're like, "Yeah." So I'm like, "Let's hug." I'm a huggy, lovey-dovey, deep dive. How's your mental health doing? Was there trauma? Talk to me, we'll cry together. Like I'm that kind of provider. And I tend to attract those kind of patients, which I love because that's where I get excited.
Yeah.
So I don't tend to attract patients that are, give me a list of the things I need to do from A to B and when do we get to this plan and tell me when I'm going to get there. I don't attract those patients because I'm not like that. So
You track what you put out at the end of the
yeah,
day, right? Like
yeah,
1,000%. And it shows in your
yeah,
content and it shows in how you market yourself and it shows in all of
yeah,
those things. And that's
yeah.
exactly again why we have partnered because
Yes.
I only bring the best of the best
I'm
into my
excited
world. So
about this because it's coming. It's coming soon. I know it's coming sooner than later when we're going to have that free clinic. And I know there's going to be certain women that are going to be like, I want to build muscle. I want to do this. I'm like, well, we're going to help you for free with that too. I know they're going to be so excited.
I love that. I love that. I can't wait to partner with you and we'll kind of like chat offline about that. But
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
this is a really great note to kind of wrap this
Yeah.
up on. And as always, you guys, if you guys need any support at all, both of our DMs are always open, but
Yes.
we will see you guys in the next episode. Ciao.
Yes. Bye.